What the hell happened to all my money? Where did my investments go? Let's talk about it. Have you ever invested in a company because you thought their future was so bright, their stock price just had to go up? Perhaps maybe your friends told you that this company's really great. Perhaps your old uncle told you to invest in companies you just really love. Or maybe some YouTuber was telling you about this thing. Maybe a cryptocurrency or an NFT that was going to the moon, and you couldn't help yourself but to buy in to the hype. I mean, come on, it sounds rad. What could possibly go wrong? I've been there. Guys, this was totally me. I was invested heavily into Amazon because they delivered me packages really quickly. I was deep into Tesla because I believed in the future of EV cars. I love the company and I love the product. And I owned way too much Bitcoin, almost at irresponsible level, because my nerdy friends told me that blockchain was the future. But all this changed for me, and I'll tell you why. In this day and age, we are bombarded with news. Round-the-clock TV, social media, updates to our phone, and thousands of YouTube videos. Everyone is an expert. And our joyous sense of positivity somewhat tricks us into thinking that all these companies are great and they're all going to do awesome. All of their products are going to be useful, and all of their stocks will just go up.
Right.
We've enjoyed one of the longest bull cycles in the history of the market. New and excited investors have poured trillions into flashy new companies and crypto coins that we believe cannot miss because their product and their service is incredible, or the future of their technology is just simply too amazing to ignore. Until recently, not a lot of these had gone down, and this bias, this recency bias, might make us think that this fall in prices is only temporary. After all, prices have fallen in the past for these companies and cryptos, and they always tend to go back up. Why would this time be any different?
They've done studies, 60% of the time it works every time.
But spoiler alert, it'll eventually be different at some point, and here's why. So if you succumb to this, into thinking, like me, that an investment is something that I simply buy and watch it go up. It's a ticker symbol, it's a number, and after I buy it, it's going to propel upwards forever. And if this sounds extreme or ludicrous, there's hundreds of stories of people pumping a lot of money into these extremely high valuations of companies who literally made nothing.
There's nothing, nada, zip.
Or certainly not enough to justify their valuation. We might tend to forget or not even quite understand the concept of how strong fundamentals over time can eventually lead to a higher stock price for a company, and how the lack of these strong fundamentals can cause an overvalued stock or crypto coin to spiral in a tailspin of losses, leaving investors like you wondering why.
Why?
It's only after these enormous losses occur with the companies like the tattooed chefs and Palantirs of the world, or cryptos like Bitcoin or Terra Luna, that people start searching for answers. What in the hell went wrong? And if you're searching for these answers, you've come to the right place. It always amazes me with any aspect of our life, if we want to be better, say like in basketball,
What? You gotta be kidding me!
singing, or cooking, we all unwaveringly agree that we must follow in the footsteps of our heroes in these industries and mimic what they do. Children on the basketball court for 3 decades have counted down that shot clock and taken that game-winning shot in their minds, muttering under breath the names Jordan,
Circle, puts the shot in the air, good! The game's over, and the Bulls have won.
or LeBron.
LeBron! Look out below!
And it would be silly to think that as they shoot, they're muttering the name of Seth Kretchanen, which is me.
Who the hell is that?
We unanimously follow and copy all the greats, like Gordon Ramsay, Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, and other superstars when we want to improve our performance and existence. Unfortunately, when it comes to investing, humans have been drawn to the opposite of this. All of a sudden, when I want to be a better investor and get a leg up on people, my old Uncle Larry is my go-to wizard and guru in the investing field. During the day, he's a gym teacher.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
But at parties, he's an investing savant. And for some reason, we tend to throw all caution to the wind, and take our investing advice from him. Hell, he might even have watched a bunch of YouTube videos to become an expert on the subject. And just think about it. If I gave you a list of the 10 greatest investors of all time, would you even know who these people are? Could you even recognize them, let alone their investing strategies? Seriously, look at all these old farts. Do you know who any of these guys are? These are the Mount Rushmore of investing. Like literally, they've made the most amount of money in the world.
Whoa, man.
By buying businesses, growing them, and investing in stocks. They each invest with a very similar strategy that leads to generational wealth. And I'll tell you how. The moment you realize that when you are buying a stock, you are buying a company, and when that realization sets in, it will change your investing mindset for the rest of your life.
Wow, what a totally amazing, excellent discovery.
Well, yes.
When you start thinking like a co-owner of a company, you'll move forward in investing with a driven process, a checklist, and a core value system that can quickly differentiate and separate the great investments from the potentially catastrophic ones. Before you press that buy button, which typically happens by yourself and on your phone, there's that little moment before you press it. I guarantee for some of you, the thought goes through your mind saying, man, I just hope this works. But what if I told you there's a proven way?
What?
That has worked for over a century and has been agreed upon by all the greats who have ever done it.
Liar!
It's almost like all of the past Super Bowl winning coaches have won using the same playbook. And guess what? The playbook is super easy.
You are a god!
And it's available to you.
A god, I say!
You have to start envisioning that when you buy a stock, you're buying a company. And like all those companies that you pass on the way to work, you have to start thinking about what's inside this building. Envision yourself walking into a local Subway and saying, I want to buy this place. What questions would you ask them? How much money do they make? What does it cost them to make this amount of money? What do they have in overhead? Are they $3 million in debt and barely hanging on? All of this sounds very reasonable when you put it into perspective. And if you're a small business owner or a manager in your career, this is probably starting to make a little more sense to you. When you buy a company, you become a co-owner of this company. It's a living thing. It's an operation. It's a building. It has a bank account and maybe a pile of debt and a path to succeed in the world, or maybe not succeed. Buying a stock is no different. You are buying a piece of a business, just like you are buying one of those Subways or a piece of it. You would want to make sure that the money invested is safe and will generate a reasonable return for the amount of risk you're about to take on. The business you're buying will generate cash, and as the cash accumulates, it can be paid out to investors through a dividend, or it can be used to pay down debt or grow the business, maybe till the growth potential slows. And at that point, they can start buying back shares of the company. Also, in the liquidation of this company, you would get the cash that builds up. That's the proof that when you're buying a stock, you're buying a business. Once you've grasped this, you might start to see how silly it is to invest in companies that may only have a prototype car, no revenue or profit, and a track record of disappointing investors, let alone buying into some cryptocurrency that was fabricated out of thin air because your roommate told you that the blockchain is the future.
People will bow to it.
All right.
And it very well might be the future. But your next question should be, okay, all of these cryptos are on a blockchain, so which one of the 10,000 cryptos is the best one? For me, my playbook doesn't allow me to invest in something like that. I can't run that play.
It's never gonna happen.
My plays are based on a proven track record of strong fundamentals that allow me to predict the success of this investment in the future. For example, we look at the company's profit and revenue, their return on invested capital, their levels of debt, and lastly, their stock price, which is really simply just what the world thinks the company's worth right now.
Duh.
The goal is to wait for the markets to not understand a company's value or to misprice the future. That's all investing is. It's like being at the blackjack table and being the best card counter in the world. You won't always be right, but over enough hands, you'll make a lot of money. This contrast is real and obvious. While the world was losing upwards of $30-40 billion in Terra Luna, a crypto coin which ended up being a complete scam, Warren Buffett was buying $4 billion in Hewlett Packard. Yep, that stupid printer company that many think is only in competition with Dunder Mifflin. Thinking about this concept was the most influential change in my investing journey. It catapulted me from just a naive investor that invested in companies that looked and sounded great into a process-driven, seasoned investor. This disciplined process of buying companies really sets my mind free, in that my process almost forces me to invest in companies that meet my numbers on my checklist and helps take away any doubt that I might have previously had. No trick plays. I'm not gonna have my kicker come in and play quarterback for a couple downs. I'm just gonna run the plays that have worked for the past 100 years and not listen to my Uncle Larry who's screaming from the stands to throw a Hail Mary. I still may be completely wrong and the investment could totally flop. The pass could fall incomplete. But by using a tried and true proven strategy, you'll be less likely to blame yourself if the investment goes south, and you'll relieve the stress of thinking you did something wrong. I just have to stick to my process. I might not win each sprint, but over time, I'll win the marathon. I may not win each game, but I will create a dynasty. Remember, you're a shareholder, not a price watcher. If you're ready to take the next step in learning a true investing process, check out this video where we talk about our 8-pillar process.
It lists all 8 pillars right here. Pillar number 1, we want the 5-year PE ratio to be under 20.